At the beginning of the film, we see a boy named Nico who has taken his own life by hanging. Then the story jumps forward a few years. We see a girl named Sharyn sleeping with her husband. Suddenly, she experiences unbearable pain in her abdomen. Sharyn also has a daughter who becomes very worried seeing her mother's condition. Her husband takes her to the hospital where she is admitted. The doctor informs Sharyn that her appendix has ruptured, necessitating surgery. A nurse approaches her husband and tells him he can go home if he wishes, as they will take care of Sharyn here. However, her husband insists on staying and waiting for her. Sometime later, they take Sharyn to the operating theater for her surgery. When Sharyn opens her eyes, she finds herself in an unfamiliar place, her hands tied to a stretcher. Shocked, she wonders where she is. A doctor arrives and unties her, telling her he knows she must be very confused, but her questions will be answered gradually. After he leaves, Sharyn looks at her abdomen, which is completely healed. This shocks her as she was just in the operating theater. She wonders how she ended up here so suddenly. The doctor returns with some medication, and Sharyn asks how her abdomen healed so quickly. He explains they have a unique method that can heal patients in just a few minutes. He gives her some pills saying they will reduce her anxiety, not trusting him. Sharyn pushes him and tries to escape. However, other doctors catch her and lock her back in her room. Sharyn is unable to understand where she has ended up. She demands to speak to her husband and daughter, but the doctor tells her no one can come to take her away. He locks her in the room and leaves. Suddenly, Sharyn hears an old man screaming. When she goes to the window, she sees that they have removed the old man's eyes. Horrified, she wonders what is happening here. Then a patient in the neighboring ward sends her a message on a piece of paper stating his name is Everett and asking who she is. He also gives her a pencil to reply. Sharyn asks what hospital this is. The man replies that this is not a hospital. Just then, doctors take Everett away and torture him. Hearing this, Sharyn becomes terrified and sits on her bed. Sometime later, a doctor comes to ask her some questions. He tells Sharyn she needs to fill out a form about her past. Sharyn refuses to tell him anything. The doctor asks what mistakes she made in her past. Sharyn, shouting, demands to be let go, but the doctor says he will release her if she is honest with him. Then he notices the conversation she had written with Everett. He warns her not to do such things again as it's against the rules. He starts taking her to another room, informing her that this is not a hospital, but a facility where roaming is strictly prohibited. If she is caught wandering, they will torture her. He takes her to a room for a checkup where other patients are present. The doctor introduces her to everyone, including a patient who is psychotic. He warns her to stay away from this patient, as he could do anything to her. Sharyn also meets Everett, who was a lawyer. He tells her that, when he spoke to her yesterday, they caught him and cut out his tongue. Sharyn asks how he is speaking. Now Everett explains that his tongue grew back overnight. Hearing this, Sharyn is shocked and thinks he might be joking. Later, Sharyn asks Cassandra why she is bald. Cassandra reveals that experiments are conducted on them in this facility. They have burned her alive 3 times, but afterward they treat her and she becomes normal again. Another patient, a man, wants to talk to Sharyn, but Cassandra advises her not to, as he is very rude. A doctor arrives and sends everyone back to their rooms. Sometime later, Sharyn looks out the window and sees 2 doctors entering the rude man's room and taking him away. Everett comes to Sharyn's room and tells her she must be confused. He believes this is a program where experiments are conducted on them. If she thinks she can escape, it's impossible, as everyone who has tried has failed. The doctors here are twisted and torture them, but perhaps in 3 months they might release them. Later, the 2 doctors bring back the rude man whose abdomen is bleeding heavily. Sharyn asks Everett what they did to him. Everett suggests she go to his room and see for herself. When Sharyn goes to the man's room, she sees they have mutilated his private parts. A doctor arrives and gives him a serum. Sharyn asks why they are doing this to him. The doctor says he isn't doing it. The man is doing it to himself. Shocked, Sharyn goes to Everett and says she wants to escape. If he knows an exit, he should tell her. Everett says there is no way out. Sharyn goes out to search for an exit. When a doctor sees her wandering, he stops her and says she cannot go anywhere. He takes her to her room and shows her a photo of Nico's body, the boy who committed suicide at the start of the movie. The doctor asks if she knows him. Sharyn says she will tell him everything if he lets her speak to her husband. The doctor agrees. Sharyn reveals that before her marriage, Nico was her boyfriend. They loved each other, but one day he committed suicide after being caught in a drug trafficking case. The doctor asks if she knew about the drugs. Sharyn denies any knowledge. When Sharyn tries to call her husband, she finds the phone is broken. She scolds the doctor for not keeping his promise. He tells her no phones work here. Later, Sharyn goes out again, trying to find an exit. She reaches the main lobby where other patients' rooms are located. From one room, she sees her boyfriend Nico coming out. Shocked as he died 10 years ago, she wonders how he is alive. While wandering, some doctors catch her, take her to her room and cut off one of her legs. Sharyn is in great pain, but later a doctor reattaches her leg. She asks how he managed to do it. The doctor explains it's due to a serum called BMS, which has the power to heal people. It can heal someone in just a few hours. He insists they are not sadistic, but are helping people heal. Hearing this, Sharyn is shocked and wonders where she is. She recalls that when her boyfriend died, a detective came to question her, and that detective was none other than her current husband. They later fell in love and got married. Sometime later, the man who was healed visits Sharyn. She asks how he recovered. He explains that the serum caused his private parts to regrow. He believes these people are military personnel experimenting on them to heal injured soldiers. Sharyn goes to Everett and tells him she saw her boyfriend who died 10 years ago here. Shocked, Everett goes to the doctor and asks when he will be released. He knows someone who has been here for 10 years. So how can the doctor claim he'll be released in 3 months? The doctor tells Everett to calm down, saying he will explain everything. He takes him outside where other doctors seize him, cut his tongue, and inject him with the serum. Then we see a past scene where the detective is investigating Sharyn. He asks where she was at the time of Nico's death. She says she was at home. He asks if she knew about Nico's drug addiction and his drugs. Sharyn denies knowing anything. Sharyn recalls these events and looks at her leg, which is fully healed. She immediately goes to Nico's room, where she sees his piano in which the police had found drugs. While she is there, the psychotic patient approaches to cut her hair, but hides when he hears someone coming. Sharyn steps outside and sees a jungle through the window. Thinking it might be an exit, she opens the door but finds only a wall. The jungle was a painting. Shocked, she returns to Nico's room and writes her room number on his piano so he can find her. Suddenly, Nico appears, hangs himself, and dies. Shocked, Sharyn is comforted by a doctor who asks why she is so scared. She tells him she saw a piano and her boyfriend here. The doctor shows her the room is empty and suggests she is hallucinating. We then see a past scene where Sharyn and the detective are growing closer. The detective explains he understands the pain of losing someone, as he lost his brother who didn't listen to him and used his gun to commit suicide on his birthday. The story returns to the present, where Sharyn visits Cassandra. She asks Cassandra if she wants to escape. Cassandra says it's impossible. She reveals they burned her alive 3 times, and now she remembers how terrible it feels. A doctor enters and tells Sharyn to return to her room. Sharyn secretly steals the doctor's keys. A ward boy arrives and takes the doctor away. Sharyn shows Cassandra the keys, saying they can now escape. They go to the doctor's room and search it, finding a map of the facility. They use it to escape wearing doctor's clothes they find there. They also discover a box of serums and take one as evidence for the police. The doctor and ward boy return and notice a serum is missing. Hearing a noise, the doctor investigates and finds the serum, taking it. The 2 girls who were not hiding there begin to escape. A doctor notices their injured feet and realizes they are patients trying to escape. He calls his colleagues, and Cassandra threatens to cut her own throat if they approach. They try to stop her, but she cuts her throat. The other doctors see Sharyn escaping. Sharyn recalls the detective taking her to a church where he said he often went for peace. She fell in love with him there, and they later married as Sharyn escapes. The psychotic patient blocks her path and tries to attack her. Another man intervenes, beats him, and drives him away. He tells Sharyn he also wants to escape and will go with her when an alarm sounds. They hide in a room where doctors begin searching. The man starts touching Sharyn with ill intentions. Seeing this, Sharyn grabs scissors and stabs him in the private parts, causing him to fall. She escapes and finds a door labeled Exit. She tries all the keys, but it doesn't open. A doctor spots her and calls others, but the door suddenly opens and Sharyn escapes. She reaches a jungle and finds a house where a couple is arguing. She enters and shouts for help, but no one responds. She sees a dark room and enters it, only to find herself Back in Nico's room where a doctor puts a noose around her neck, he hangs her but later drops her, saving her life, and treats her with the serum. Afterwards, Sharyn goes to Everett and asks how he ended up here. He says he had a car accident and was admitted to a hospital, then suddenly found himself in this facility. Sharyn asks if his injuries were severe. Everett admits it was nearly impossible for him to survive the accident. She asks if he ever did anything wrong in his life. He confesses to many wrongdoings, but refuses to elaborate. We see a past scene where Sharyn and the detective are at dinner. Sharyn tells him she is pregnant, and he is overjoyed, saying, "It's wonderful news." Back in the present, Sharyn visits Cassandra, who is now healed. She asks if Cassandra ever did anything wrong. Cassandra reveals that a few months ago, she went to a mink farm where farmers were about to slaughter many minks for their fur. To save the 650 minks, she set the farm on fire, but accidentally the farmer and his wife died in the blaze. She regrets it, knowing they were still in the farm and that she deliberately set the fire to kill them. Sharyn asks how she ended up here. Cassandra says she ate poisonous mushrooms which brought her here. She adds that since she ate poison, she shouldn't be alive. And since Everett had a fatal car accident, he shouldn't be either. She believes this is hell. Cassandra admits that 10 years ago she killed her boyfriend Nico and staged it as a suicide. She told her husband, who advised her to forget it. Sharyn goes to the doctor's room and finds Dante's Inferno on his desk, confirming her suspicion that this is hell. She tells the doctor she has read Inferno, where Dante describes hell as a place where people are tortured, healed, and tortured again. The doctor is surprised and says she is very clever, as no one else has figured out this facility is hell. Sharyn asks if he is Satan. He denies the existence of Satan, revealing he was once a patient like her. As a doctor, he misused his knowledge, prescribing wrong medications that caused many deaths, leading to his punishment in hell since 1969. Initially, they tortured him with overdoses, but years later he was promoted to a doctor. Those who stay long become doctors, torturing new arrivals who were once patients. He explains that hell exists to make people suffer for the sins they committed on earth. Another doctor arrives and takes Sharyn to Nico's room, forcibly trying to put a noose on her. His mask falls off, revealing he is Nico, who was sent here for committing rape and has now been promoted to a torturer. Sharyn apologizes for killing him, saying it was an accident and that she loved him deeply. She puts the noose around her own neck and asks him to hang her. Nico forgives her, saying he cannot kill her. He vows to get her out. As he leads her away, a doctor tries to stop them, warning Nico that rebellion will lead to him being tortured in boiling oil. Nico says he won't let Sharyn die and punches the doctor, knocking him out. He takes Sharyn to a door leading to Hell's exit. She sees lava below and a bridge forming above it. The bridge begins to collapse, but Sharyn jumps to the other side. The doctor sees Nico to torture him. During her operation, Sharyn's breathing had stopped. The doctors apply pressure to her chest to revive her. As she escapes Hell's door, her breathing resumes. When she opens her eyes, she sees the doctor, who says a miracle happened. She was dead for 15 seconds during the operation, but somehow came back to life. Sharyn looks at her abdomen, still wounded. The doctor tells her the operation was successful and she will recover soon. Sharyn thanks him and says those 15 seconds felt like 15 hours. Her husband and daughter arrive overjoyed to see her alive. Days later at home, Sharyn searches online about the doctor and learns he died 60 years ago amid a controversy over killing patients with overdoses. She searches for Cassandra and finds she died from mushroom poisoning. Realizing they were all dead, Sharyn understands she was truly in hell. She visits Nico's grave and lights a candle, grateful to him for her survival. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, then don't forget to write next in comments for more recap video. Thanks.